With so many places and options to eat on Oahu, it can feel overwhelming trying to find great local spots that are away from the chain restaurants in Waikiki. Well, in this episode, you'll discover Hawaii's best kept secret for experiencing authentic Hawaiian culture and amazing food that many visitors completely miss. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best. My name is Brian Murphy, and as a husband, dad of 3, and certified Hawaii destination expert, it's my joy to help you discover the best of Hawaii. Here, we often feature local businesses and voices to give you the best travel tips, up-to-date news, and everything you need to plan an unforgettable trip to Hawaii. Aloha, and in this episode, you'll discover the story of a local restaurant that started as a tent during COVID and became one of Oahu's most authentic food spots, why finding places like this spot might completely change your Hawaii vacation, and what real Hawaiian hospitality looks like beyond the tourist spots. Welcome to episode 145 of Hawaii's Best, and on the show we love learning from local businesses and voices in helping to travel with Aloha, and today I'm thrilled to be talking with James Kiko, owner of bEASTside Kitchen on the east side of Oahu, just outside of Waikiki. You'll learn how this family-run restaurant captures the true essence of Hawaii through food, music, and community. Many people, when they visit Waikiki, kind of like to stay in their comfort zones, and they miss out, unfortunately, on a lot of these spots that feature authentic Hawaiian experiences. And by the end of this episode, you'll learn how venturing out to places like bEASTside Kitchen can completely transform your Hawaii trip from a standard vacation to a meaningful cultural experience with memories that truly last a lifetime. Recently, my wife and I, Allie, we experienced this firsthand. We were staying at the Kahala, which is on the east side, south shore of Oahu. We were trying to find a spot to eat, and there's a mall nearby, the Kahala Mall, and we were trying to find a spot to eat, and there wasn't anything that really stood out there. And Allie went on Yelp. bEASTside was one of the first spots that we found that were close to the Kahala where we were staying. And you could just tell from the reviews, from the pictures of the restaurant inside and outside, and the pictures of the food, there's something special about this place. So we tried it out. And our first visit there was a Monday evening. The person who waited on us, Shyla, big shout out to Shyla. Thank you so much for taking care of us and making our first time at bEASTside incredible. Man, we had the garlic fries. Allie had a drink. I didn't have a drink. I don't know why, because it looked so good. I had a sip of hers and it was incredible. The food there was just amazing. We're like, okay, we got to come back because they do Taco Tuesday. So we got to come back on Tuesday, and we came back the next day, and we got to talking with John, who is the general manager there. We just got to talking a little bit, and I was like, man, it'd be great to learn more about the story of this spot and to share this with the listeners of Hawaii's Best. So that's what we're doing today. And I can't wait to introduce you to the owner of bEASTside Kitchen, James Kiko from Waimanala, Oahu. He has over 10 years experience as a bar manager. James took a leap of faith during the COVID pandemic to start what became a simple tent pop-up to help his grandmother, Auntie Nett, overcome isolation during that incredibly tough time. The restaurant quickly gained popularity through word of mouth, 5-star reviews, and bEASTside Kitchen features James's family recipes, was transformed into signature dishes like garlic umami shrimp and guava barbecue fried chicken. What truly sets bEASTside Kitchen apart is its authentic Hawaiian experience it offers, with live performances from legendary Hawaiian musicians, creating an atmosphere where guests, both locals and visitors, enjoy great food and music together. James and the Ohana at bEASTside has created more than just a restaurant. It's truly a gathering place where staff and guests alike experience true aloha spirit in a welcoming environment that feels like coming to Auntie's house for a backyard party. So let's go ahead and let's talk story with James from bEASTside Kitchen.
Let's talk story.
Kiko, thank you so much for coming on Hawaii's Best today. How are you on this Aloha Friday?
I'm doing great. Mahalo nui for having me here this Aloha Friday. It's a beautiful day on Oahu. Took the kids to school. Ready to go.
Well, we're going to be diving into bEASTside Kitchen, and I wonder if you could just set us up and how it all started and give us a little history on it.
So bEASTside Kitchen, and honestly, it's a crazy story. Also, my most favorite memories was how it came about. In 2021, still when a lot of the islands or a lot of the world was still shut down from COVID, my beloved grandmother, who's no longer with us, she was home every day. She's the matriarch of our family.
Mm.
Everybody would come and see her. She would travel to different islands, seeing all the Ohana, and she couldn't for a long time because she was battling breast cancer.
Mm.
And just being in her later years, just being extra safe and the travel restrictions. So she kind of fell into a little depression from not seeing everybody and everybody not coming over. So I had a crazy idea. Well, not so crazy, but there's a market in Waimanalo, our hometown, and they occasionally let people set up a tent and sell food in front of there. So I went to the market and I asked them, I'm like, hey, are you looking for any vendors? They're like, yeah, please, take a parking stall, pop up a tent.
Yeah.
So I did. I made a little menu on what we're going to sell. And I went to her and I told her, I'm like, I told her what we're doing. She's like, what? Why are we doing that? I'm like, to get you out of the house. You need to see people. She liked the idea. She was kind of hesitant, but we went out there. We didn't barely set up our tent yet. Everything was sold and everybody knew she was coming out there. So the whole community came out and to see Auntie Net, that was her name. And she absolutely loved it. And I could see the joy in her face. And the market asked us to come back the following day. And we did, sold out again really quickly. She was asking, when are we going to do this again? So we went back the following week and, we were helping bring business to the market that was there. It was a store called Cultural Connections where a bunch of native Hawaiians and Polynesians would make, crafts and art, different trinkets and put them on consignment there. So as a whole, we are little small businesses. We came together and all worked together, and bEASTside was kind of the front of that to draw people in. And little by little, we were getting more known throughout not just Waimanalo. And Waimanalo is a very tight-knit community, but people that's passing through, and then tourists started coming back to the island slowly. And they put us on Yelp and Google, and about 500 five-star reviews later, we were a thing.
So what was it like transitioning from working under a tent to having a full-on restaurant? That must have been quite a change, yeah?
It grounded me. I've worked a lot in the bar industry and the restaurant industry in Honolulu, and it's just a hustle and bustle, dealing with a lot of different people as far as the staff and just kind of commercial Hawaii. And coming into the community where I grew up, where, I used to ride bike and everybody knows everybody, and be able to show them that, what I did as far as providing a service of hospitality, like just under a 10. And when people coming up and just bright smile, aloha, how's it going? And this is what we got today. And a lot of what I sold there was food that was influenced by my ohana. When we have family gatherings, potlucks and everything, it's just not stuff you'll find in your, kind of chain local takeout places, but stuff you're going to find at your auntie's house, or you'll find on the side of the road, like pastele trucks is, it's a Puerto Rican dish, but it's so popular here in Hawaii. My grandmother looked at me when we had to leave the property. I mean, everybody had to. And she begged me not to let this go. And not having a bunch of capital to start anything of our own, get a brick and mortar, my brain started going. I'm like, food truck, what do we do? We need a commercial kitchen. There's so many regulations you got to follow. Just so happened, one of my friends owned a restaurant and she made me an offer. She saw what we built under a pop-up tent. She gave me a chance and I took over her restaurant, turned it to what it is today from a hot pot place. And we did it within 10 days. I got the keys. 10 days later, I had a liquor license set up, everything. And it was kind of the craziest accomplishment I've ever done.
That's kind of fast for Hawaii, yeah?
It is crazy. I mean, I got all my aunties working there, my cousins, and it's literally a family-run business. And the music that we showcase there is music that you have all your Hawaii legends. We feature Robi Kakalau. Tonight we have Welding Kiko Oha. And these are some of big names. We got newer names like Tavana, which is very popular here.
Yeah.
Imua plays. And it's just music that I grew up to that brings back memories, not just for me, but everybody there. And that's what we got special. You feel like you're coming to Auntie's house for a backyard a backyard party. Everybody feels that when they come in. They don't feel intimidated. And, even our kupuna, our elderly, they don't like to go to restaurants these days because it's too much for them. There's too much going on. They feel intimidated. So a lot of our customer base is your uncles, your aunties, your elderly that come in. They're like, we just feel so comfortable here. We feel like we're welcome. We feel like literally part of the family. And, for me, what I told my staff when we first opened, and aloha goes a long way. I mean, like I told them, I'm like, you're not used to this, but what you can do is share aloha. You can make people feel welcome. And that's mostly it, and then everything else will come.
This is a little story. I think I already shared it with you, but for people listening, we were just trying to find a spot to eat, and we'd never stayed at the Kahala before. We were doing some stuff with them, which was fun and cool, and it was a great spot. But we're like, okay, felt a little bit out of our element. It was Yelp. My wife was looking, and she's like, this place, you could just tell, like, this is a spot. So we're like, we tried you guys, I think it was like a Monday or something.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about, just having your ohana there, but like, you feel that as you walk into a place like yours, like it just felt so welcoming. I'm trying to think of who was our
Shyla, my cousin Shyla.
Yeah. That's right. I was like, man, it just feels like, okay, it's going to be good. Like, we just had water on the table at the time, but like, this is going to be good. And it was an amazing meal. I think I might be dancing around it, but like, it feels so local Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
As a visitor like myself coming in, I felt a little like, okay, is it going to be okay? Like, people are just like, the record's going to scratch and people are going to just like turn their head at you. Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
But I want to just get that out there because I want people to know that it's such a welcoming environment. Places, local Hawaiian spots like yours are just so welcoming and so genuine to serve. I felt that, my wife and I, we felt that, and it was amazing. I was a little bummed because I wanted to talk about music. For those listening, you can't see behind me, but I got guitars. I was a music director in a past life. And so music is like in my blood. You guys can go to bEASTsidekitchen.com/events and you can see everything going on. You guys are stacked with, these legends playing. I'm like, oh my gosh. How did you fill this calendar with these amazing artists?
We're so lucky. I mean, I have chicken skin right now because every time I think about who plays there, and I just feel honored. I worked in the restaurant and bar industry for a long time. I've always handled the music calendar. And I think it was just over the years I've met people. And I want to say it was not to bEASTside where I actually met my idols, like, who I consider a legend. To have the Hawaiian musicians that we grew up to love and all of that, one person led to another, and just the connection and just being the boldness to ask. With social media, you can contact anybody these days, and explaining to them who we are, where we came from, and telling them my story, like I mentioned to you. And they wanted to be a part of it. And when they come in, a lot of them tell me, Kiko, this is my most favorite gig. I may not be the one that pays them the most, but, we're not a hotel in Waikiki or anything, but the aloha feel, the love, the comfortableness, they get to talk story with the guests. And, it's not just, it's a mix of locals and tourists, and to get a mix of conversation going and everything. I think that's what they enjoy. Seeing people sing to their original songs and watching everybody sing the song, I think that it just builds happiness within everybody. A lot of the musicians at the end of the evening, and you do this at local events and Hawaiian events, and sing Hawaii Aloha as kind of a closing where everybody just comes together at the end, hold hands, and kind of appreciate everything around, all of us being there. And to wish everybody safe travels home, everybody sings that song, and literally everybody in a restaurant gets up at the end of the set, holds hands, and sings, and becomes one family. I think the musicians to be able to do that in our restaurant, because that's who we are. We are Hawaiian. We have aloha, whether you don't have it in your blood, but you're here respecting the culture and having a great time we're all one people at that point. And people get blown away. They're like, okay, we came to dinner to listen to music and we're here holding hands with everybody. And like, it's just the craziest thing. And what is the best thing for me too is seeing the staff and family, I'm going to call them the bEASTside Ohana, just love what they do and love being there. And like, even the ones that are not my blood relatives, like at the end of the night, I've seen multiple employees just crying, like, because they're just so happy that they're here. If you can feel that way at work, you know, that for me is very special. Building bEASTside and having the musicians play there, but most importantly, having my employees, my staff, my Ohana that trusts me and bEASTside to support their, you know, it's expensive here in Hawaii, and to rely on bEASTside to support themselves and love their job. And for me, I have the most aloha for them and very thankful that they took a chance on me being like, what are you doing in 10 days? I'm like, I'm opening a restaurant. You know, they're like, we got your back. You know, let's do this.
What's beautiful about that, I mean, food brings people together, and really at the core, I feel everyone wants to feel like they belong and feel like they have community. You never know who might be walking in your doors, a visitor, someone from the island or maybe fresh to the island, and just trying to find that community that can only be filled by other people. You guys are doing something special. It's more than just the food. It's more than just the music. It's all of the combined, and you just don't see that a lot. And I think that is really special. Real quick, I just want to pop in here and say, I hope you're enjoying my conversation with Kiko. And I have a simple ask to help you support the podcast. Don't worry, I'm not selling you anything. This isn't an ad. I simply want to ask you, if you have found any value in listening to Hawaii's Best, is to simply follow the podcast on the app that you're currently listening to the show on. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, just hit that little follow button in the top right corner. Or if you're listening on Spotify, for example, just hit the follow button. That signals to those apps to show this podcast to more people. And that's one of our missions here, is to reach more people like you who love Hawaii and are planning the trip to Hawaii. And just by helping them bring conversations like these to even more people. So thanks for considering to follow the podcast. And now back to my conversation with Kiko, as we're going to dive more into the food at bEASTside Kitchen. I do want to talk about the food because that's what I think brings a lot of people into a restaurant, you know, so I'd love for you to just, especially for people listening. I mean, I've been there, I've tasted it. It's amazing. There's other dishes I want to try. I can't wait to go back. But for people listening, if you paint them a picture of what you guys serve up and how you guys source.
We started with 3 core items. After the first couple items I served under the tent, I brought in our guava barbecue fried chicken, our garlic umami shrimp. So those 2 items, inspired by my grandfather's recipes, and I've changed them a bit and, you know, updated it. He's no longer with us. He passed away well over 10 years ago, but he was the cook of our family. Auntie Net, she couldn't even scramble eggs to save her life. But, you know, she's good at everything else. But I had these 2 items that became my staple, and it's the guava barbecue fried chicken and garlic umami shrimp. Those 2 items, what took off, that was featured in Yelp and Google reviews time and time again. And it's your truck style garlic shrimp, which our family would serve at all our gatherings. But in North Shore, you have all these shrimp trucks, and shrimp has become a thing in Hawaii that you have to stop and get on the side of the road. So I was like, why don't we cook our family recipe? I judged the recipe a little bit, and it became so popular. It has a little bit of Asian influence in there. So we call it our garlic umami shrimp. I didn't want to be a regular garlic shrimp on the side of the road. But like I said, how everything blends. When my family cooked the garlic shrimp, there was a lot of Asian flavors in there too. So the combination of the buttery garlic and Asian flavors set our shrimp apart from all the other trucks serving shrimp. Our crispy guava barbecue fried chicken. Barbecue sauce in Hawaii is more similar to a teriyaki sauce. On the continent, you have your traditional barbecue sauce is more of a pasty, sweet, smoky kind of deal. Style barbecue sauce is a little sweet soy sauce base and miso and everything, lay it all out there. There was a lot of stuff that I, didn't consider as far as food costs and everything like that, because my background is the bar side of the business, but I was a home cook. And the places I worked at, like I would always, maybe you should cook it like this. And they're like, well, maybe you should pay attention to your bar, yeah, it was one of the things. So when I got the opportunity to cook for people, I got to do it my way.
Yeah.
But there was so many things that like, I want to do this, I want to make this, but not realizing how much something costs to make and how to budget and everything. So it was a learning curve. And as far as the ingredients we source, not 100% of what we use is local. We try as much as possible because for me, as a local business, local supporting locals is the way to go. But the lifestyle and costs here in Hawaii, sometimes you can't do what you want to do. But to get as close to it as possible, and I'm being completely honest, is what we can do. Some things we have to outsource. And it's sad that you have to do that. But with costs of just rent and other goods, either do that or you don't have the opportunity. I want to team up with local farmers, and we have in the past, but there's only so much space people can grow stuff on here, and like smaller businesses that could survive. And I want to source everything from majority. Waimanalo is, it's an old fishing village, but we have everything up Mauka towards the mountains and a bunch of farms, but very specific items they have over there. Nalo greens and all of that. But yeah, we use a lot of local product and a lot of product we bring in. But for the most part, our eggs, our chickens and everything are all locally sourced. A lot of our produce and the dessert.
So outside of bEASTside, what, if any, free time do you have, and what do you like to do around Oahu?
Well, what I love to do, is spend time with the family. And you know what is funny? Because you mentioned free time. There's not a lot of that for me.
Yeah.
But if I had the time, what I used to do is beach, of course. That's, just, I wish I had more time to do more community work. Because, maybe in my younger years, I wasn't thinking of these kinds of things. I was managing bars, promoting music events, but I'm at a point in my life that I want to go and work in the community, whether it's working on a farm and planting kalo leaves that we use to make our lalaos or stu luau or squid luau. And those are all other Hawaiian dishes. But working in, we call them lo'is. I would love to be able to have time to just, today I'm going to go a mocha. We're going to work in the lo'i and just get in tune and just really take in where we live. I drive home every day from work, and sometimes people don't notice what they're driving past, like taking in the scenery and, that stretch of road that's going along the coast going towards Makapu'u, past Sandy Beach. And it's just amazing. You see them in commercials and everything. I drive that every single day. And still to this day, I always remind myself to just take it in and be appreciative and, use that appreciation to help where you can. Beach cleanups, working in the lo'i or anything, going to the schools. And, next week I'm doing a workforce event where I'm going to be a guest speaker, encouraging young adults to, find their career path and, just reminding them there's not one right answer. You're going to figure it out, but never quit. Just taking moments like that to be intertwined in the community. That's what I would love to do with my free time. And when I'm not working, I find myself doing those things, spending time with my family at the beach. Yeah, that's what it is. Living life.
You're getting into your Uncle Kiko era.
Oh my God. Yes. I'm at that point where it's like a 20-year-old would be like, unks. Oh, I was like, whoa, are we there yet? Like, if you're 10, I get it. But then I do the math. Okay, I'll make them 17 when they were born. I guess so. Just take it, But yeah, I love it. And my keiki is in their early teen years. So I got a 12-year-old, almost 14 and almost 15-year-old.
Oh yeah, same, man. You were talking about that drive and I was getting lost past Makapu'u and towards Sandy's, and a lot of people head over there, especially people stay in Waikiki. Probably like, the beach, Lanika, I got to go there. But our favorite beach is Waimanalo. And I wonder if you can give give some love to that area, maybe for someone who hasn't been, who's set on going Kailua Town or something. But talk about Waimanalo a little bit.
Waimanalo is special. I had the privilege of growing up right in front of the beach, literally 15 steps away from the shoreline in Hawaiian Homestead. And, half of Waimanalo is Hawaiian Homestead. And just being able to get out there to the white sands and amazing fishing. And like I said earlier, it's an old fishing village, Waimanalo, the Ahupua'a stretches all the way towards Kuli'o, that's going towards Kahala. So the Hawaii Kai area is originally Waimanalo. And so I mean, fishing crystal clear waters, beautiful white sand beaches, and the difference from Lanikai is beautiful. But Lanikai is situated between multi-million-dollar properties, and not just $2 million properties. We're talking about $10, $15 million properties, and it's like a little stretch on near the coast in Kailua, and it's very congested there. The thing what I like about Waimanalo, and I'm not saying this to make it more busy here in Waimanalo, but just being completely honest, is something special. It's quiet, it's serene, and it was rated one of the top beaches in the world a few times. And you'll find a lot of family, like locals there and everything. And, sometimes, like you said, like when you came to our restaurant, it was, you didn't want to disturb anything. You were kind of hesitant, but you're going to visit, when I visit somewhere, when I'm a tourist myself, I feel that you're going to feel that anywhere. But like anything, it's like you go in with respect and with positive intention, and, you can't go wrong. And, with the Waimanalo beaches, yes, a lot of people feel that it's special to them. We grew up here and everything, but saying aloha, how's it? And just, just going in there, respecting, clean, leaving someplace better than you found it. You go to the beach, make sure you take some trash off the beach and just throw them in a trash can, even if it's not yours, but you're going to leave that place better than you found it, and just those little things, I think people find respect in that type of community. I mean, like everywhere, there's your people that you don't want to be around and everything, but for the most part, it's always good vibes over there. It's beautiful. I mean, you're right. There's Manana Island, or people call it Rabbit Island, right in the bay. And you feel Hawaii over there versus the man-made beaches in Waikiki and everything like that. I love going to Waikiki. Our staycations are in Waikiki where we play tourists, and my kids love it. There's a swimming pool, there's the music, and it's just an escape from our normal day life that we're used to. But real Hawaii is outside of Waikiki. I mean, not saying that like anything wrong with the Waikiki area or anything like that, because it's fun. It's awesome. And it's, commercialized, and you get that Waikiki excitement when you're there. But traveling, get in your car, take a cruise around the island, and put yourself in those uncomfortable places, like going to a restaurant that you feel that all the locals are at. But, that's where you're going to find the adventure and find experiences. Be bold, take risk, treat everything like an adventure.
I think maybe for someone listening, they're like, you go vacation in Waikiki? But on a smaller scale, living in Southern California, sometimes we'll go to Disneyland and we'll stay at Disneyland Resort for a couple nights and be tourists there, or go to San Diego and be tourists there. So I can understand just getting out and away from normal day-to-day grind. But I'm curious, just from your perspective, what would be one thing, maybe a couple things, but one thing in particular you would want every visitor to know before visiting Hawaii?
Just knowing the history of what the Hawaiian people went through the past 200 years, and just know that they're coming into somebody's home, not just a vacation destination. This is where we work, we live, and just understanding living in Hawaii is not easy. The prices to live in your own home has skyrocketed. Like it tripled in the last 50 years. It's insane. And just to stay and not, we call it getting priced out of paradise. It's a struggle. So there's a little stress that people have too. Besides just living, you have that anxiety of, am I going to be able to stay here? I grew up here, generations of my family. I am Hawaiian. Can I stay here? It's a worry. And we rely on people to come here and enjoy Hawaii. And, but we want them to come with respect and, leave home with great memories and a really nice tan. Yeah. Our economy relies on tourism, and we're all people. We go to Disneyland, we go other places, but coming in with respect again. I want them just to know that when they come here, respect the place, and then leave places better than you find it.
Kiko, anything else that you would want people who are listening to know? bEASTside, anything that would be helpful?
With bEASTside, come check us out. I mean, not just because it's my restaurant and I want us to do well, but come see what I'm proud of. Come see what we built. Come get that authentic experience. And we treat everybody like Ohana. And I'm just really proud of it, and seeing happy people in there. And what we get a lot is visitors leaving and wanting to know the story, and honestly saying, like, this is the best food we've had. We've been to all these restaurants in Waikiki, all these Michelin star places. They're like, this was our most favorite meal we've ever had here. And if you're coming in the evening, please make a reservations, because we have that amazing musicians that we're talking about. We fill up pretty much every night. We're at capacity. Awesome. And we're blessed with that, but come be a part of it. And when coming to Hawaii, check out the local scene, go into the hole in the wall restaurants, take some time and get into the communities and introduce yourself to somebody. Ask questions. Not everybody's going to look friendly, but you find a friendly face, tell them aloha. Like, hey, can I ask you a couple questions? Like, what should we do here? Or like, well, what do you love to do? I think that making a little bit of that a part of your Hawaii vacation would be so beneficial.
How can people connect with you guys? bEASTside Kitchen?
Well, we have our website, bEASTsideKitchen.com, Yelp and Google. Check it out. People are, reviewing what they enjoyed and everything. I mean, please reach out to us, make a reservation.
Yeah.
Come check us out.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Aloha.
Aloha. What an incredible conversation with James. I'm just so grateful that he took the time to share his story with all of us today. And I was reminded again how this special restaurant that started to help out Auntie Net has turned into this incredible restaurant and experience. I really liked his perspective on exploring beyond Waikiki. I don't think that can be said enough. It's super important to really find real Hawaii. Get outside of Waikiki. And as James puts it, put yourself in places where you feel uncomfortable, because that's where true adventure can happen. So if you're planning a trip to Oahu anytime soon, do yourself a favor. Probably goes without saying, add bEASTside Kitchen to your list of things you got to check out. You can go to their website at bEASTsidekitchen.com. And if you're going in the evening, as a reminder, make a reservation because things fill up fast. You can see on their Instagram just how busy things can get. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. And since you made it all the way to the end of this episode, thank you so much. The best way that you can support this podcast is if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, hitting the follow button in the top right, or if you're on Spotify, hitting the follow button as well. That way, you never miss an episode, and it also helps us to be able to grow this podcast to get even more amazing guests like James on the show. So thanks for doing that and following along. And until next time, as always, live with aloha. Mahalo for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. To stay up to date on future episodes, hit follow on your podcast app. Hawaii's Best is a production of Shorebreak Media Group with editing by Easy Podcast Solutions and music courtesy of our friends Stick Figure.